10 grand to spend on ads. I'm spending it. I spend 10 grand. We make them 30k. So they're like, oh, for £1 we get 3. Yeah, cool. Why don't we double it? The moment you double it, now you're making 50. So the margin starts to drop. The reason why that happens is because
frequent. Because I think that's what's going to cause the shift.
100%.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Having people that are doing things in different fields, different lanes, like how you're like in marketing, it's bringing a spin to it. Because you know what's crazy? Yeah, when we have celebs, it don't do well. Have you caught that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why I think so. Though. I think there's a way. So when we had Simeon on, there's a way to do. There's a way to do captions. So for instance, I don't know if you noticed, people mentioned it that the way it was mentioned, the way the caption was done, Simeon's name wasn't like the forefront of the caption or the heading of the actual title of the podcast. So don't get me wrong, if they do well if the other person pushes it. So for instance, if let's say for instance, I don't know who's a viral person at them. Let's just say your cousin Amiga. Yeah. Let's say he came on the pod. Okay, him coming on the pod by himself and not pushing it or putting it on his channel, it will get the same views. Yeah. If he decides to post it on his channel with a link or in his story, it's impossible to say the views won't go up.
It'll go madness.
Yeah, some people just don't, and that's an interesting question when it comes to booking someone to do something. Let's say someone comes on the pod, are they obliged to share it? So let's say you've come on today, and let's say Chiz says, the podcast is out and sends you the link, and you're like, oh great, thanks. And then let's say in 3 days time, Chiz is like, oh right, like, and he's like, yeah, I came on the pod, but don't mean I need to.
You know what's crazy? I don't tell anyone to post it.
you shouldn't.
But would you feel away?
No, because I don't post it.
But you should do.
No, I don't post it.
You don't post it.
No, I don't post it. No, I mean,
why not?
Why not?
Why don't you post it in your story?
You know what it is, yeah? I don't want to force it down no one's throat. That's what I feel like.
It's not forcing it.
Nah, you know what it is?
I'm happy you're here to talk about marketing. I'm happy you're here to talk about marketing.
We had this discussion.
Be aggressive.
My main feed and my main Instagram page. The people who follow my main Instagram page, they want to see me bust jokes and do lifestyle. They like seeing me being flashy. If I post a joke now, it's gonna do well. If I post a picture like with the man them and there's drinks and there's like scenery,
even if there's 10 people that watch it,
you get what I'm saying? So what I do now, I send it to the broadcast list. So you know, like there's like, you know, like on IG you've got people that they follow like your thing. I just throw it in there because those are the people that they want to see everything you're doing. You get what I'm saying? So you know that I've got like 300 and something people in there, so I know everything I do. Those are the people that are fully tuned in. The story people, you could put a post and say, please go like this. There's 2,000 people watching it. 10 would only like it. So it's like,
I tell you what my thing is with certain, when it comes to marketing, and I guess we'll introduce you now actually as we're here. So what is it you do?
Yes, cool. So so I'm Max. I run Translate Culture. So we're a digital marketing agency, predominantly working with black-owned consumer brands.
Okay.
So we do paid marketing for them, so like Facebook, Google Ads, and all that kind of stuff. But
interesting, you mentioned black. Am I right in saying that you didn't set out to only have black clients? Like you was open to work with everybody?
Yes.
And is it fair to say that you just found that it was typically black clients that were coming to you?
Yeah, there's an element of truth into that. So I initially wanted to get into like what do we call like direct to consumer, which is like e-commerce businesses, right? I actually started a WhatsApp group for businesses that run e-commerce businesses, and obviously you naturally tell your friends, innit? So my brothers joined. Next thing I know, we just grew to like 100 people, but everyone was inviting everyone else to say, oh, this is a black group for D2C brands. But yeah, I mean, even now 60% of our clients are black owned, but 40% aren't. But initially when we started, it was black owned.
Now, do you find when pitching or when someone approaches you, so the face of your business, so looking at so you're into marketing, and obviously as a digital marketing company, you've got to digitally market.
Yes.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're actually what you're claiming to do for others, you typically have to do for yourself.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Although I've been fortunate where I haven't had to do that so much because of referrals, but yeah, to your point. Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's say now, for instance, a client comes to you. Now, what is the name of your website?
translateculture.co.
Okay, let's have a look at your website. So translate is in TRNS.
ANS.
So translate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Culture.co. There you go.
Okay. All right. Now, so I'm looking at your page now. So I'm looking at what it's the first thing that grabs me. We help media, consumer brands grow. We're a team of brand and digital experts providing end-to-end solutions to maximize our partners' growth potential. Okay. Now, so I can see here, this is like a story of someone, plant mate, that you've done some. Okay. All right. So then I can see a black family here. I can see a black guy here. Okay. So for me, looking at your page, okay, I will see that I wouldn't say you're marketing towards black people, but because I've seen 3 different black faces, I'm going to assume that this is probably owned by a black person who's marketing towards black people.
Correct.
Yeah. Now, is it fair to say, do you care or not care on the perception of how your brand may appear to the remaining, let's say, 96% of consumers in England or UK?
It's a very good question. Firstly, I don't care.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. So, one of the reasons why I've doubled down in our community is because there's a book I read. So I'm from North London. So there's a book I read. There's a guy called How They Made the First Million.
Okay.
So the first black British entrepreneurs were 3 black guys.
Okay.
They owned a brand called Dyke and Dryden.
Okay.
And they sold Afro hair and beauty products.
Okay.
So like, you know how you see like the Asian shops?
Yeah, like packs and all that.
Packs in there, man. They were doing 5 million back in 1986.
Okay.
Jeez.
Right?
Was that revenue?
Revenue, yeah. Back in 1986. They actually founded the Afro Hair and Beauty
show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back in '83.
Okay.
Their stories is amazing. And
And
when
still going.
it still goes on, but it's not owned by them anymore.
Okay.
What was fascinating when I read that story, it was like, it's interesting. I grew up in Tottenham. Literally, West Green Road is like, I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but it's like all the black shops are there. Like, you know, I'm Congolese, so there was a barber shop that I used to go there when I was younger. So for me to see that, I was like, hold on. I'm looking at all my other brethren, they've all got businesses, and you know, we're all trying to hit 6 figures, we're all trying to hit like whatever. But these guys did 5 million back in '86.
Okay.
And as a community, we're complaining about how we don't have ownership of our hair market and whatever. And I'm like, okay, how did we lose it? And as I was watching their story, when their man were ready to retire, none of the next generation wanted to take it on.
Okay.
So they ended up selling it. So my thing was like, okay, cool. I know how to do digital marketing. And the businesses that are coming into that group that I was talking about earlier were like black women selling natural hair products, black skin like products, because you know we get like hyperpigmentation, like our skin can be. So they were focused on black problems. And to your point, that the narrative was always to those businesses like, oh, but we're only 2% of the population, 2% of the population. My hypothesis was, my thinking was like, okay, cool, we are 2% of the British population, but if we can validate that the black people in the UK can buy your products, America's only across the road, and you're a digital-based business. So the thing I always say to people don't know this figure, but there are as many African Americans as there are white people in England. Like there's 47 million African Americans, right?
As in general.
In general.
Okay.
So I definitely get it from a position like, if I owned a physical store or if I owned a business that can only really work in the UK, it doesn't make sense to. Well, actually, it does make sense. I shouldn't say it doesn't make sense. If you want to scale, you may be limited because in a population standpoint. But you gotta realize, even that 2%, or I think it's 4% now, isn't it? It's still millions of people, right? So my whole thing was like, because I'm a digital marketing agency, I can help those brands go global. So it doesn't even matter if it's just black.
So what you're saying basically is that because e-commerce isn't rooted to a specific region, even if you want to start it in London, you're only literally an internet click away from someone in Boston or somewhere else buying it. So explain so we all know what marketing is. So digital marketing in a sense is what?
So digital marketing, so I'll give you a bit of background. So I went uni, studied marketing, worked corporate, whatever. So I graduated 2009 during the recession. And what I learned very quickly, the marketing you learn in uni is different to the marketing in the real world, right? But I knew, because I was the youngest member, I couldn't really break into like in that company really quickly. The only thing I had an advantage was digital, because bro, back then social media wasn't a thing. Like 2000, people need to realize 2009. It's not a long time ago. So like Twitter, a lot of the corporate colleagues didn't get it. So I thought, okay, cool. I'm young. This is my unfair advantage because I understand TikTok and not TikTok at the time, obviously Twitter at the time. So digital marketing, to answer your question, is basically it's marketing, but it's online.
Okay.
So therefore, the benefits of it is you can actually track performance. So for example, when Chiz said that he posts and he knows that people want lifestyle, the only way he's going to know that is by looking at the analytics and being able to see that when I do lifestyle I get 10,000, when I don't, you know what I mean? So digital marketing for me, I just say it's basically marketing, but obviously online, so hence the digital part. But the value you get is the analytics, because you can actually put something out in the world. If it works or it doesn't work, you can quickly shift.
What would you say is the best form of marketing? So I'm going to throw to you a few things.
Sure.
Okay, you've got word of mouth. Okay, you've got market in the sense of where maybe you've got like billboards.
Yeah.
You've got magazines. You've got TV. Now, what would you say in 2024? I know it's a nuanced question because it's not just one answer.
100%.
But if somebody, I know you're in a digital marketing scene, so you may have a bias, and you might say the best form of marketing would be running ads on Facebook, or the best form of marketing might be getting an influencer to do something. What would you say is the best form of marketing as far as you're concerned? And this, I want you to give it to one channel, whether you say either do magazines. No, let me break it down. Let's say somebody, because it's very industry dependent. So let's say somebody who is in, let's say someone who's selling a product.
Okay.
So let's say we've got someone right now who's on here who's selling a product, whether it's hair cream, whether it's clothing, whether it's a cap, but he's got a product to sell. What would you say is the best form of marketing?
Paid ads.
Paid ads.
Yes.
And that's like a paid advert on whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, whether it's TikTok.
Which social media platform would you say is the strongest?
Facebook.
Yeah, by far.
By far.
People don't actually understand that.
People
They don't realize.
By far. Like, you got to realize, the thing about Facebook, you got to realize,
It's all the crowd with money.
all the crowd with money, but also they own Instagram. So they got the younger crowd as well. And Facebook's the longest running social media platform. So all the data they've captured from us back in the day when we used to poke, like all of them times from to now.
Oh, wow.
Remember the poke?
Yeah.
That was what, 2006?
To get someone's attention, you poke,
You know what I mean? All of that data to this day, they pretty much know. And I'll tell you what, I built my agency off of Facebook ads.
Okay.
It's scary how effective it is. Like, I can basically go on the back end of Facebook, so you can bring me a brand, like say the hoodie. I can target people in Croydon who are interested in tracksuits. Like, you can pick the interest. So that's why I say it's the best form of marketing, because you can start as little as £5 and pick who you want to target, test it, and if it doesn't work, then you try a next group and whatever. But to that point though, if we're thinking about it, like taking away the platform, like the best form of marketing is word of mouth. Because I grew through word of mouth. You know what I'm gonna say? So my company, I focused heavily on just delivering great value to a point where and plus I'm in a client-based business. So client-based business, you have to heavily rely on someone saying, oh, who helped you? Like, who grew your, like for example, somebody came to you, who grew your channel? Like, who's your cameraman? You're gonna say Wes, and then he gets more jobs that way. So I would say word of mouth. But word of mouth comes in different forms, because you would argue influencer marketing is kind of purchased.
What is your take on that? So for instance, let's say somebody had £500. Okay, and they said, I want to do some digital form of marketing.
Okay.
And they said to you, I've got two choices right now. I can run £500 on Facebook ads, or there's a lady who's pretty well known in the hair industry, okay, and she's basically willing to use my product, and I've got to just pay her £500. And let's say, for instance, she's got, I know it's not about how many followers, it's about engagement, but I'm just going to throw followers out there. And let's say she's got 50,000 followers, and she's known for hair and beauty. And someone says she wants £500 to post my video on her story and post it on her page. And there's someone like yourself who's saying, give me £500 and I run some ads.
What I would say is negotiate that person to record the content.
Okay.
For £250.
Okay.
And for that £250, they'll allow you to run ads on it.
Run ads on their page.
So there's two things. You can run ads on their page, or you can run ads on your own page, but using their ad.
Oh, you can do that?
You can do
Their
that.
content.
So basically, I can come to you and say to you, Gabriel, can you just record a video saying that you're going to come to my event? Now, you've got an influence. And I can target people in the culture on the back end. So I could target people that are into like Burna Boy. People that are into Davido. So it'll most likely target people from the diaspora of our age. But I'm buying your likeness. Like, because most people that will see that ad will be like, oh, that's Gabe. Oh, Gabe messes with them lot. I'm gonna come to the event.
Yeah.
So what I would say for them, because the challenge is, if you come to me with £500, I'm still gonna ask you for content. If your content don't bang, you've wasted your £500.
Okay, yeah.
So what I would say in that situation where you've got the opportunity to use someone else's influence,
split maybe 250 on the person, 250 on running ads.
On running the ads.
So you would say that we're in 2024. You would say, because I think my biggest issue when it comes to the internet is this, or social media, is that I always feel that if social media collapses, for a lot of people their business collapses. And that's a scary part of digital. No, I'm not saying digital marketing, but let's just say Instagram closed down today. Not that it's going to. Or let's say TikTok closes down today. Do you still have a business? And that's the part that worries me, is that if you don't, and I always say that your mailing list is probably one of the most important, vital things in your contacts, because 100%. Even if social media collapses tomorrow, you've still got access to communicate with these people.
100%.
And that's the part that scares me. But as someone who does digital marketing, what are the sort of mistakes that you see people do when it comes to marketing digitally?
Yeah, I agree.
Before you go into that, have you seen, like, with the stateside with TikTok and America, the potential getting banned?
Yeah.
And it goes back to what Gabe was saying, how it's gonna damage a lot of people's businesses, especially like in e-commerce. You've got, like, there's a few. So when we printed out the t-shirts and got the merch, there's a few younger, like, YouTubers. They were not even YouTubers. They were like people who just done their clothing merch, promoted via TikTok, instead using YouTube to push their merch and that. And I've seen a lot of them over that side complaining, saying that if TikTok goes, it's gonna affect business a lot, because the money that they're making, they were like, TikTok is the main channel that amplifies it. They just kind of just there do YouTube just to have long form content and to show the process of what they do, like a day in a life, when they go to like the postal services, when they receive the merch from like customs and all of that. But they were like, if TikTok goes, it's going to be a problem.
Definitely.
Yeah.
On that TikTok thing, I actually don't think they're going to ban it. I think it's just a political thing to basically just flex the American.
So what would you say, what are the mistakes people often make when it comes to
mistakes? So I agree with you. So look, we do paid ads, and how I got into it is because people asked me. So because I grew my wife's business and we got featured on Evening Standard and whatever, and people were like, oh, you do ads, like whatever. So we're good at it, and that's what makes us money. But I'm always honest to clients, because I'm like, I want you to stay in business a long time, because we're a retainer business. So if you spend all your money, you run out of business next month, we've lost one client. The biggest mistake people make is they'll come to us and be like, okay, cool, we want to grow really quickly. The problem with e-commerce, it's a weird phenomenon, or ads in general, it's a weird phenomenon. So you guys are businessmen, right? You know about economies of scale. The more things you buy, you get it cheaper. That works in most things in life, but it doesn't work on ads. So the more money you spend, actually you make less. Because it gets to a point where Facebook starts to charge you more to reach more people. So a lot of brands come to us to be like, okay, cool, man. Let's say they give me, I don't know, 10 grand to spend on ads. I'm spending it, I spend 10 grand, we make them 30K. So they're like, oh, for £1 we get 3, cool. Why don't we double it? The moment you double it, now you're making 50. So the margin starts to drop. The reason why that happens is because Facebook, you gotta realize, it's still a social media platform. You can't force your ads too much on people, because they don't want people just to keep seeing ads as much as it makes them money. So the biggest mistake people make is scaling too quickly. And also that's just on the ad side of things. So you're less efficient. You're getting less return on your ads. But on the back end with e-commerce, what people don't understand is when businesses start doing millions of pounds, a lot of things start to break, because now you got shipping, like cost increases. You now got to hire more staff. You got you're creating demand so fast that maybe your operations in the back end isn't ready for it. So my thing with it is, like, when a lot of people come to us, we try to educate them and say, actually growing slower is better. And to your point, if you don't have a mailing list, like for example, if Facebook blocks your, because they can also ban your ad account, for example, if you're advertising the wrong thing. So it's like, if you don't have a mailing list, then you're done. Right? So part of it is also like, make sure you build a profile where you've got your customers, but also if you couldn't run ads, people are still logging into on socials to check you out.
In 2024, what do you think is stronger, a mailing list or a text list? Because some companies,
that's a good point.
some
I would
companies
say
I get the text list and I pay attention to it more than
I would say if you're an American, if you're selling in America, then text, because Americans actually use text like it's normal.
There was an iMessage.
Bro, like, even we had clients where they just wanted to talk through text. Like for them, iMessage is like it's normal, and people actually buy from iMessage. UK we're a bit more conservative. Like I think personally, I find it intrusive when a brand messages me. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Do you see it as unprofessional? A text message or WhatsApp message?
Less so unprofessional, but more just like this is a safe space where I speak to my family. Like only my brethren and my family really should text. It feels more too personal. Like I don't think there's a brand out there that I personally will feel comfortable getting a text from. And
what do you think, Wes, about businesses sending text messages?
Yeah, I feel like it's too personal because there's layers to it. Unless it was like potentially a personal brand where you've got some sort of relationship with the creator or something.
So do you mind when a restaurant sends you a text reminder?
Yeah, that's spam. I'll look at it as spam.
But don't you think?
If it's a booking reminder, that see, I see that as a service message.
Okay.
For example, I booked somewhere and you say, yeah, man, just to confirm, the booking's at 8. Don't be late, kind of thing. I'm like, okay, that's a service.
But they're not selling to you.
You're not selling to. If you text me to be like 2 for 1 on Friday, then I'm like, you know what I mean?
But don't you think like?
But that's me personally.
With the amount of emails we receive from brands, like let's say like now you might open your email, Nike 30% off at this, then Selfridges, we've got a sale coming, then blah blah blah. You tend to just
The good thing to the point though, text has a better open rate. Yeah. Because there's not a lot of competition. Whereas like email, like you said, there's better competition. If Nike emails me, this person emails me, like the open rates are much lower. Yeah. But text, obviously, somebody's more likely to open it. The reality is that they're also more likely to opt out. Yeah. Because some people will see it as intrusive. But like I said, in America, our clients text, SMS just smashes it. It's just they've just got a more consumer culture. Like they're just ready to buy, like offers, and it's crazy. Like so, most of the brands we've worked with that we've taken some like multiple 7 figures, we had to go to America. So to your point, it's like the UK is not big enough for a brand that is specifically targeting black owned. I believe you can hit 7 figures just targeting the UK. Like we've got brands that have done 7 figures just targeting UK customers. But if you want to do multiple 7 figures, if you're a black brand, you have to go States because they're just a bigger
lot of these
population.
brands start off as drop shipping brands, or they started off as straight, fully labeled.
So majority of our brands have started off fully labeled, but it was almost like what happened in 2020 was major key. So I started my business in 2019. So I left my job 2019 October, and I always say if I waited 6 months, I would have never left because COVID happened. Like the safety of being in a corporate job was much better than me taking this leap of faith. But it was perfect timing for me because by working with only black brands, the packs of this world had to close. So where was everyone going to get their hair products? They're going to get it online. People are at home, everybody's on furlough, people have more money. And in fact, how some of the brands we work with grew was through Shade Bar.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're running ads on Shade Bar. Because you remember Shade Bar and all of these cultural platforms, before 2020, most of the ads they were doing for would be like for music, like artists. Artists would drop a mixtape and they'd be like advertising wherever. But what happened in 2020 is everyone was online. Like I didn't follow Shade Bar, but I was following Shade Bar. Does that make sense? Like you check for it. You may not follow it, but you were checking for it. I remember even my missus one time was telling me, "Oh, we're going into lockdown," and I was like, "Oh, where did you hear that?" I thought like she saw on BBC. She's like, "No, I saw on Shade Bar." My missus, I was like, "When did you start following Shade Bar?" So there was a great opportunity at that point where not just the culture, everybody was at home, everybody's on social. So if you advertise on any of those platforms, you reached more people. You know what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of those brands, even though they were planning to start small, they were able to grow really cheaply because those platforms they weren't charging them times probably a few bills. So imagine you spend 2 bills on an ad and you make 10 bags because everyone's at home. Packs closed. This black hair brand is selling hair product. Do you know what I mean? So obviously now the world's opened up again or whatever. But dropshipping is a good way to start. So I always advise people. The good thing about dropshipping is you can test the market with it because the way dropshipping works is I think someone else explained already in a previous episode where you sell the product, someone else fulfills it, so you don't even touch the stuff. The problem with dropshipping is the margins are tight. They're really small because the manufacturer and you've got to pay for ads and whatever. And what always happens is brands get to a point where when they start scaling, they make even less money.
Yeah.
And I always say a joke, like most people that are growing dropshipping during 2020 to like now, you're essentially working for two companies, Facebook and AliExpress.
Yeah. Okay. Because you got to pay Facebook for your ads, and then you
And
got
then
to
you
buy
go,
off them.
yeah. So,
Now-
but what you then should do, if you're smart, is figure out, okay, cool, how can I go direct to the manufacturer now? How can I find cost-effective channels? So, like you said, for example, like build your mailing list, so then you don't need to pay Facebook for it, and then, just get better terms with the
Now,
manufacturer.
you mentioned that in 2019 you left your job. Okay. Now, there's two different ways people. Well, there's more than two different ways. But when someone says they leave their job, there's an important question I always like to ask and say: did you leave your job completely, meaning that you wasn't doing part-time and started working on your business, or did you sever ties with your job completely and start running your marketing business?